Our next wonderful guest is Jason Gordon joining us today at Beyond the Pages. So welcome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Anytime. I'm excited to have a conversation with you that you're talking about something a little more different than I'm used to talking about with our guests. So I can't wait to dive into who you are, what you do. You're obviously a residential mortgage lender at AmeriFirst. And you specialize, not that you just only do this, but you specialize in divorce. Maybe you can finish my sentence.
You're doing so well. I didn't want to jump in. So,
You can finish it.
yeah, I do have a kind of a specialty in helping divorcing homeowners
Right.
determine if they can successfully retain the home. Typically, in a divorce, one party wants to retain the marital home, and so I work with the divorce attorneys. I market to the divorce attorneys directly, not to the consumer. And divorce attorneys pull me in as an expert during discovery phase to determine whether or not what we call the in-spouse can retain the marital home via an equity buyout to help the out-spouse kind of move on, right? To be taken off the lien, get their share of the equity, allowing our client to retain the marital home.
Okay, so very interesting.
Kind of a mouthful, huh?
Yes, it is a mouthful, that's for sure. A little bit of a stressful situation too, I think, at times, because there's a lot of emotions that come into something like that.
A lot of emotions,
Right.
yes. And these people are going through a tough transition, and we really want to help them through that. And it's hard. Some people are really in some tough situations. I had a few domestic violence cases where, we're getting the final deed signed and notarized by someone who's in prison for abusing our client. So
Yeah.
it is a tough situation. It's very delicate, and we try our best to do a good job for them.
Right, interesting situations, that's for sure. And you specialize in that, but obviously you like to help all kinds. Anybody who
Yes.
needs a mortgage, you're like, I'm here for you.
Yes, I'm not a one-trick pony.
Right.
If you're happily married, if you're single, we'll still help you out. Yes, but I do a pretty large amount of these divorce equity buyouts, and it's definitely something we do a lot of.
Right, well, let's talk a little bit more about you. I was really impressed to read about your credentials. So let's talk about the 4 credentials that you have that a lot of others don't have in this industry.
A lot of alphabet soup after my name. Yes. And
Yes.
so these actual credentials, the 4 you're referring to, are specific to divorce. So if you thought you were going to get off that topic, we're still on
Well,
the
that's
topic.
okay. We'll talk about that because
Yeah.
they're credentials and it's important to know.
Absolutely. So we have what's called a CDLP, Certified Divorce Lending Professional, which I think is the Rolls Royce of divorce education for lenders. Certified Divorce Real Estate Expert, or CDRE, which I would call the Rolls Royce for real estate agents, learning the ropes on that. We have Certified Divorce Specialist, CDS, and Real Estate Collaboration Specialist in Divorce, or RCSD. A lot of alphabet soup.
Yes,
and a couple
lot of
others that are
alphabet
non-related to divorce, CMA, CMPS, a few others. But
And how long approximately does it take to get these credentials?
some could be, in a few days. Some take, better part of a year to
Right.
get. Yeah, the CDRE through the Alumni Institute is about a 1-year commitment to get it done. It starts out with 2 weeks of intense training, classroom style, followed by anywhere between 6 and 12 months of mentorship, and it's a lot of work.
Okay, so how did you become interested in this profession and this route? Was there something that intrigued you, along the way? You were in banking to begin with, right?
Yeah, I was in banking.
Right.
There was one client interaction I had, and she'd come to me, she was referred to me. She came into my office 4 days after her divorce was finalized. She was holding a court order that said she had 60 days, well now 56 days, to settle the affairs of the marital home. And within a couple of moments, what I realized was she was trying to buy out her ex. And I'll just kind of round out some numbers. Say the house was worth $500,000, they owed $400,000, $100,000 in equity, and he wanted to be removed from the $400,000 loan. He wanted half of the $100,000 in equity, so essentially she was looking for a $450,000 equity buyout loan. Within a few moments, I was able to talk with her, realize she didn't qualify. But it was too late to go back and revise the court order. They had a very high conflict divorce. He was not going to renegotiate, and she panic sold the home. When all the smoke clears, he got his $50,000. She didn't get to retain the home. She got about less than $10,000 when she paid all the real estate commissions, the escrow and title fees, the transfer taxes, some mild repairs. And she had promised her teenage daughter that they wouldn't have to move, and had to move her teenage daughter. So
That's hard to watch when you know somebody going through something like that.
especially if I could have got brought in early, I could have prepped her for selling the home. They could have negotiated a lot sooner. She had spent months of her divorce fighting to keep the home, and she was never going to be able to keep the home.
So this is when you thought, you know what, I could do something to help these people.
Well, it showed me that there was a disconnect.
Right.
Her attorney said, just show him the court order and he'll have to refinance you. That was incorrect. A lot of lenders, they don't market for divorce. They just kind of get it every once in a while. And there's a lot of complexities with the family courts, with how we look at spousal support or child support as income, current debts that are jointly held between the divorcing parties, who's on title, who's not. What if someone is out of the workforce for a long time going back to work? A lot of nuances within the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac guidelines specific to divorce that if you're not doing it a lot as a lender, you don't have the context to help these folks out. You just it's kind of blind leading the blind. And these are people who are going through one of the most negative transitions in their lives. They need proper guidance.
Right. Wow. Well, you sound like an exceptional person, and obviously wear your heart on your sleeve. You want to help people.
Thank you.
And you want to see them get ahead, obviously, in life. So how about looking forward, your goals for 2022 or your goals for the business that you're in?
Well, I'm going to break from divorce for a moment. I think that's probably a good idea.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
I do a ton of purchase business. We help people who are getting homes get into their homes. And right now with the inventory shortage, and there's a ton of challenges right now for our buyers to get their offers accepted. It's a feeding frenzy for these available homes.
Right.
It's even worse is say you own a property, say property A, you have to sell in order to buy property B. Selling A is no problem, but getting that seller on B to accept your offer contingent on A selling, you're bringing too much baggage to the table.
Right.
And these folks are just getting stuck. Our company, AmeriFirst Financial, has a program called Cash is King, where once you go through the process of getting pre-approved, if we deem you eligible, we'll buy your property B with cash, lock it down for you, and either at that point you sell A before you have to buy B, or we just buy B for you and we sell it to you after the fact. And that could work without being contingent. You could be a first-time home buyer. Imagine being a first-time home buyer, putting down 3 or 5%, and just getting completely tossed aside by all these sellers saying, oh, this person doesn't have enough skin in the game. Let's take that 20 or 30% down offer instead. And so as a result, we're helping those folks get into homes too. So this is kind of the directive right now, and for the foreseeable future, cash is king. So we're helping folks out right now with that.
Good for you. Well, along for the ride. I think you just got to ride the wave, right? You're along for the ride the wave, and see where this takes us this next year.
The only constant is change in this business. So you have to be ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look like you're ready for it.
At this point, I'm battle tested.
Right.
Done this long enough where like, all right, things are going to change. Don't act surprised when they do. Just be ready and be ahead of the change so you can be positioned to help your clients and your colleagues that much better.
Great. Well, I wish you well. I know it's going to be a successful year for you.
Time will tell. I hope so.
I think so too. Well, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
today,
for having
Jason.
me. I appreciate that.
It was wonderful having you. And please stay tuned for this commercial break.